So guys, welcome back, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're really enjoying the content that I'm putting out at the minute. I am working hard to put it out as quickly and as regularly as possible. This is going to be a consistent thing, if I can keep it up, providing uni work doesn't keep me holded. Anyway, today, I thought we'd talk about the transfers, and specifically what I'd like to see come in the next, I think we've got 5 days left of the transfer market. And with the announcement yesterday about the embargo being that it has been lifted, I think it's been lifted to a soft embargo again. We can sign up to 5 players now that Christian Pedersen's been signed. We can make a further 5 additions, but those look to be slightly restricted in terms of what we can bring in. I believe it's loans with a cap on the wage budget. I think it could be around £11,500 to £12,000 a week. Which is reasonable, but the way the wages are rising these days, it's going to be tough. It's going to need some tough negotiations. Free transfers that don't require a huge amount of compensation, and again a cap on the wages, and potentially some very small fees paid out to clubs. Don't quote me on that. I don't know the whole ins and outs of it. And I'm not going to get into arguments with people about it, because I don't claim to know everything that's going on, and I don't claim to know what's going on in terms of the finances and what the rules are now that the EFL have put in place in regards to our signs. But we know we can make 5 additions, and I don't think the club are going to mess around in terms of trying to throw lots of money at it again, because we now need to balance the book. So we still need to get rid of some players like Stockdale, Kujak, Fabrini, Stewart. They all need to go to free up some wages, but that still doesn't mean that the club can throw huge amounts of money around. So they're going to be really cautious in what they can bring in. So I'm going to list 5. It might be more players, but 5-ish players, loans and frees, that I think could be useful in this team, and I think we should potentially take a look at. So the first player I would like to mention is possibly a controversial opinion. I believe I would like to throw 2 names into the hat. Knowing that we need a 4th striker, knowing that we need a little bit something else up front, I'd like to throw David McGoldrick's name into the ring. Player I've always wanted to see down at St Andrews. Not sure why, but he's just a player that always seems to have a goal in him. Injury prone, maybe a little bit, but I believe he can offer us something else. Would he be first choice? Possibly. He possibly could work up front with Shea Adams or Vassell if he's fit. I'd like to see him play up front here too. If we could get a hold of him, I don't think his wages would be extortionate. I think they would be around the 10,000 mark per week, and he's not overly old. You could still get 2 or 3 years out of him. I believe he's 30 or 31 again, so you're sort of in the tail end of your prime. So David McGoldrick is a player with an eye for goal, a little bit of pace. He's quite sharp on the ball, a bit more of a fox in the box. And the second striker I'd like to throw names to the ring, I think he has been linked with a move today, is Omar Bogle from Cardiff. Recently just promoted with Cardiff. Don't think he played a huge amount last season for Cardiff, but someone that brings a bit more youth to the side. Clearly not wanted at Cardiff now, clearly surplus to requirements. A player with a bit more pace, a bit more flair up front. Do we need that? I think so. Especially the flair aspect of it. Shea and Vassell offer us pace, but they don't offer us huge amounts of flair. So a player of Omar Bogle's unpredictability maybe could work in this league. I know a few teams have took a punt on him, but then he hasn't really played a huge part. So maybe it's time for him to come and prove himself. So he's another player I'd like to see us maybe, try and chase up, see what the situation is there for a loan move. Okay, on to the goalkeeper situation now. We all know we're desperate for a goalkeeper, and it's getting a bit dire now, because we just can't sit with Connell Trueman in for all season. Even if Connell Trueman was to be first choice goalkeeper, fine, let's have Connell Trueman as first choice goalkeeper. But then who are we having as backup? Stockdale is clearly not wanted at the club for one reason or another. Obviously wages were playing a huge part, and he's not been anywhere near the first team recently, so he's not going to make any return. Kujak, maybe coming back, but even then he's played no part in pre-season, he's been nowhere near the first team, so what's to say he's coming back in either. So we need a goalkeeper. Carl Darlow at Newcastle, I don't think I've seen his name mentioned at all really around social media, and he played a huge part in Newcastle's promotion back to the Premier League 2 years ago. Hasn't really, he's been in and out of the team if required at Newcastle in the Premier League, but I don't think he's going to be first choice there with Dubravka in goal. So again, it all comes down to wages really. If we could afford his wages, then who knows. He's someone that's got plenty of Championship experience, obviously with Newcastle and then with Nottingham Forest. And he's always come across as a really steady, reliable goalkeeper for any team, potentially pushing for playoffs, top half. So he's another name that I would like to see maybe linked with. Moving on next is a player that was in the Championship last season, and it's Shea Ojo, who was at newly promoted Fulham. Again, a player that offers a little bit of flair, a little bit of pace, a little bit of energy to those wide positions. Not saying that Magoma's not good enough. This isn't a replacement for Magoma or Jota, but this just adds strength in depth. I know Liverpool are looking to loan him out. There's a few clubs interested in the Championship. I heard mixed reviews from Fulham fans last season in regards to Ojo and just what he can do. He looks like he's got something about him, but maybe lacking that end product, a bit like Boga. That's what I'd heard last season. But in the situation that we're in and the lack of depth that we got, maybe it's worth taking a punt on him if we can get him on a loan deal for this season. He's got a goal in him from wide. He likes to take him man on. Plenty of tricks, plenty of flair. So he's just another option if we were to rotate the squad and rotate the wide players, Magoma and Jota. He's something that I would like to see. I think he'd get the fans excited. So Shea Ojo, again, another one that I'd like to see us consider. And then finally, I'm going to throw in a bit of a curveball for the last one, and it's the young lad from Leicester. Now, bear with me trying to say this because his name is a bit of a mouthful, but it's Hamza Chowdhury. Now, he's a bit of an unknown quantity. However, when I have caught glimpses of Leicester's under-23s, and he has featured 1 or 2 times in the first team, he's been on the periphery of the team, he looks a really solid central midfielder. He's got plenty of strength and power. He's a big lad, physical, but his passing range is really good, and I think it's something that Blues kind of lack again. Somebody that can hold on to the ball, someone that can distribute well in the middle of the park, isn't going to lose it, and can dictate the tempo of the play. He's still young. Leicester might be looking to loan him out if it's possible. Wages, again, wouldn't be something that you would think would be too much of a stumbling block. And in our current situation, can we really be moaning when we're trying to take a punt on that? Because at the minute, we've only got Ndoye, Kieftenbeld and Gardner, and I don't think it's enough. And even with Davis coming back, we lack that playmaker in the middle. We lack that creative spark in the midfield. So let me know in the comments below what you think in regards to the transfers. Let me know if there's any names I've missed out that you think are worth a go, because with 5 days to go, we, in my personal opinion, are still lacking 4 names, 3 minimum, but I'd say 4. And things are getting a bit tight now, so deals are going to have to happen really swiftly, so that we're not rushing things on deadline day. We all know how that went last season, and players really didn't settle in quickly enough. So we don't want that to be happening again. Let's get them in now. So let me know in the comments below. And if you like the video, please subscribe if you haven't already. And like the video, it helps me massively. You should be seeing a couple of videos a week. Yeah, and I will see you in the next video.